Today is January 20th, 2021. We're going to talk about a name you probably never heard of. It's called Aurinia. It's a pharmaceutical company, and it's actually coming with a massive upside of 120% on this underlying stocks. And how can we make 1,000% trade from this opportunity? And it's actually really big news on the stock market this week that probably not a lot of people are aware of. So this is MoneyPigTrading. So let's go to the next slide. So what's going on? So there's a pharmaceutical company focused on developing drugs for a disease, autoimmune disease called lupus, which is a very complicated, and we don't know what is really causing this disease. But basically, it's an autoimmune disease that's going to attack your organs and body tissues across like several regions of your body. And you can see the pictures are getting from Wikipedia. It's going to attack multiple regions and causing a lot of serious complication. And unfortunately, this autoimmune disease mostly happen in women, while some other autoimmune disease like ankylosing spondylitis mostly happen 90-95% to men. So again, nobody knows why. And oftentimes, unfortunately, this lady has this lupus disease, and she just had this butterfly pattern on her face, and it's a very common symptom. And it's kind of interesting that if you have the study has shown like whether the twin sister, one of the twin has lupus, one of the other twin did not necessarily have lupus, the percentage, the chance of having lupus, like one twin has a lupus, the other one doesn't have lupus, is only 24%. So it's kind of scientific facts, FYI. So there's a more serious complication called lupus nephritis, which is an inflammation of the kidneys caused by lupus. And currently, there's no really good treatment. It's more like controlling the symptom. It's not very effective. It's by using corticosteroid and immunosuppressive agent, which both can cause a lot of side effects, which is not ideal and it's not very helpful either, especially later in the treatment process. At the beginning, might have some inflammation reduction, but not really helpful in the long term. It's considered as an orphan disease, so about 80 to 100,000 patients in the United States. And this number really ranges. Like I have seen some study estimate there are only 60,000 patients. There's some other study estimate about 260,000 patients with this lupus nephritis. So I'm just quoting something, and I even quote a more conservative numbers later when we do a price target for the AUPH stock. So because it's an orphan disease, so the drug is usually relatively lower bar to be approved. So December 21st, 2020, sorry, not 2021, GSK actually had a drug called Bensta, I don't know how to pronounce it, let's just say BL. It's admin route. It's actually IV, and not only is IV, also you need to admin with steroids. So it is not very ideal situation. The efficacy is actually worse, and actually got FDA approval about a month ago. And yeah, the target today is AUPH. They actually focus on this disease called lupus nephritis, and they actually have a drug. I don't know how to pronounce it as well. It's called VC. But this drug is significantly better than the GSK one because it's oral, and the efficacy in the phase 3 clinical trial has been proven significantly better than the GSK one. So FDA has a pending approval decision on January 22nd, 2021. But in my humble opinion, it's very, very likely it's going to be approved because it has a better administration route, it has better efficacy, and also it's an orphan disease. So that means the safety and efficacy bar for is fairly low in those applications. And as long as your drug has better efficacy and better administration route, is most likely going to be approved. And also AUPH, this pharmaceutical company, actually signed a EU and Japan license agreement with this pharmaceutical company called Otsuka. It's actually a very well-sized and scalable pharmaceutical company with manufacture in EU. And they also have the marketing networks in EU and Japan. So it's actually quite interesting, though not rare, that a pharmaceutical company, especially bigger one, they sign those license agreement and manufacturer agreement with a partner in some of the regions before FDA approval. But for AUPH is a very small biotech company, so signing this agreement before FDA approval just showing me that how confident they are that this drug will be approved by FDA in the near future. And and because of that, they are very confident. They want to ship out this drug ASAP. That's why they sign this license agreement, make everything gear up. Once this get approval, they can start to ship out this VC medicine to the lupus disease patients ASAP. During their previous earning calls, they actually claim once get approval on January 22nd, 2021, they want to ship out this medication in Q1 2021, so the same quarter, which is pretty amazing. And also, not only this crazy Asian dude is telling you that this pharmaceutical company has a large, massive upside, a lot of option traders in the stock market are actually betting for this medicine to be approved. If you look at the AUPH option chance, the call options means people or option trader think this stock is bullish. The put option, if there are more, that means the traders think this drug is not going to be approved. The price action is probably going to be bearish. If you look at the total number of call option contracts, is about 4 or 5 times higher than the put contracts. So it means that most people are betting that this drug is going to be approved. And also AUPH VC actually there are some risks. So this AUPH actually had a VC for a second usage for dry eyes, but actually dropped that phase 2 clinical trial on November 3rd, 2020. Not 2021. Because they started to realize that this drug doesn't really show efficacy on dry eyes. However, it's not really a risk because this drug does show strong clinical results on the lupus nephritis. So yeah, it does have some scientific data. And the fact that it has been dropped from the dry eye just shown that this drug is not effective on dry eyes. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not like this drug has a serious side effect or anything. And also because this happened on November 3rd, 2020, it actually helped us get a lower price on AUPH because before that news on November 3rd, this stock is actually trading way above the current range, around 18 or 20 bucks. So we actually have a chart. This is when it happens. It was trading around 16, 17 bucks. And then after they dropped that dry eyes clinical trials, it dropped back to 12 bucks. And now it's lingering around 14, 15 before the FDA approval decision this Friday. So this actually gives us an opportunity to load the stock or call options in a relatively cheaper price. However, there are definitely some other risks that we have to consider is maybe the FDA approval process could be delayed, especially under this COVID situation, right? So that's something we have to consider. So in my humble opinion, again, I think this VC medicine developed by AUPH is highly likely to be approved. But however, we don't have the data that what FDA sees, right? So there's still some risk that FDA has some information that we don't see and ended up causing this medicine to be rejected. So consider all this information, we do think that this medicine is highly likely to be approved. Then the next question is how much upside does this AUPH stock have? So it's actually a complicated mathematical equation. Not complicated, but multiple factors. Not quantum mechanics complication, but you can see. The first is we have to consider what is the total number of patients in the United States and the whole world. And then we have to calculate the penetration rate and then multiply by the patent protection, not rate, the patent protection year. Sorry, I make the slides really quick. So a lot of mistakes, apologize. And also we have to minus the competition. And then we'll basically get the whole market shares and the total number of patients that will start to use this VC medicine once it got approved and multiply by the price per year. So here I quoted even a lower number of patients just to be on the conservative side. I'm using 70,000 patients. I know in the previous slides, there are like 80 to 100,000 patients. And like I said, there are another study showing that 260,000 patients. So the numbers really like varied. Um, and also, I just put some really high level assumption, like among all those lupus patient, uh, only lupus nephritis patient, only 70% eventually use VC, because maybe there are 30%, they don't really show strong symptom. They don't really need this medicine, or some other early prevention or treatment actually helps, and they change their lifestyle, symptom got approved, blah blah blah. They eventually didn't use it. And also, I'm consider sound competition. Even though GSK medicine is probably not as effective, but we cannot ignore that GSK is a beast as well, and they have a lot of marketing power. They have the network on the sales, and also there are some other drugs on development. Even though they are, in my opinion, so far either efficacy or the administration route look worse than the VC drug. But let's assume that VC only gets 60% of market share, which I think is also conservative. And if we do this math together, and assuming that this VC drug actually has a $90,000 annual sale, which is getting from this AUPH earning that they mentioned, they are probably going to charge this amount for patients. So after all this math, we're going to get the sales revenue of $2.7 billion a year. And currently, AUPH has 126 million outstanding shares. So if we divided 2.7 billion to 126 million shares, that means once this drug got approved, the sales ramp up. All using these hypothetical numbers, this drug should bring $21 per share on this AUPH. The other factor we have to consider right now is the patent protection for VC is until 2027. So therefore, based on the current price, base price, AUPH has some this patent and all the some assets. So currently it's valued, I would assume about $10, $11. Plus this $21 a share is getting close to the Wall Street target, which is covered by two analysts. One analyst gave $28 target, the other one gave 31 targets. So I would assume, based on all these hypothetical numbers, if VC get approved, AUPH should be traded at around $30, $31. However, on Friday, when the FDA announced the results, we have to look at whether FDA will grant AUPH more patent protection extended to 2037. If that's the case, AUPH will get exclusion or exclusive right to sell this drug for 10 extra years. So if that's the case, I think AUPH will have way more upside. We're probably going to surge to $40 to $60 target price. You can see all these numbers are rough estimate. Nobody even can tell what is the population of the lupus nephritis patient, even just within the United States. So even with the Wall Street analysts, I think their numbers are pretty rough estimate as well. However, when the stock market trade with this kind of news coming out, they do follow Wall Street estimates. So that's why I put them as a reference. So here's the target price. Again, my target price is $31 once approved. If they can be granted 10 more years of patent, $40 to $60 per share target. So how to make money? In this case, loaning AUPH stocks is the easiest solution approach. You can probably still get 100 to 150%. If you're getting around 14, 15 bucks per share, then eventually if got approved, maybe really going to $31 per share. Yeah, it's about 100%, 110%. The other way to maximize the revenue profits is using the options. So given the target price, assuming $31 is our target price, and here's the option contract price and the option strike price for call options, of course. So, and here's the return for each February 19, 2021 AUPH call options. We can see that the 22 call strike price expire on February 19 has the highest return if we really reach $31 target price. However, there's a risk that maybe it won't reach that high, maybe it'll only reach 25, right? So then your percentage of return won't be that high. In this case, I'm choosing 18 calls on the February 19 expiration. It's because I'm just trying to be a little more conservative. That what if the price only go to $28, right? So I want to make sure that our the call that we buy, the strike price that we buy, will be deep in the money. So that's why I choose 18 calls just to be on the safe side. Even though if we really hit 31 target price, our percentage of return was slightly lower, but I think almost 700% is still pretty decent. If we choose this 18 call strike with the target price 31. However, there are definitely some risks as we discussed, and also FDA approval decision can also always result in a rejection, like we mentioned, due to the data that we don't see, but FDA sees them. So I always recommend to hedge. Don't put your house mortgage money all in one bet. Only live once. That kind of concept is not cool. Once you lose all those money, it really hurts, right? So on the safe side, currently I'm doing 3-to-1 call to put options. So I'm doing AUPH February 19, 2021, 18 calls versus 10 puts, 3-to-1. In my opinion, if this drug doesn't get approved, AUPH might drop to lower than $10, probably around $6 to $8. So I think 10 put should provide some protection here. And so if we really don't get approved and really drop to about $7 to $8, this 10 put should cover all the loss from the 18 calls. That's pretty much it. Just want to highlight we're not registered financial advisors, so all these are for education purposes. Make sure you do the due diligence before any investment decision. But hopefully this information can help help you a little bit for this guiding your trading a little bit. If you like our content, please feel free to give us a follow or reach out at MoneyPigTrading.com or follow us on Twitter, YouTube, or Instagram. And don't forget to like our video and leave some comments if you have any questions or really like our video. Sorry, I cannot talk very well. It's quite late here in the United States. So thanks for watching and enjoy. Have a good trading. Thank you.